are still out here, and they walked from the West Houston Church of Christ here to the gas station where Deputy Goforth was killed. I was out here yesterday as hundreds hit the streets and walked from a church to this gas station. It's remarkable to see how much this memorial has grown. Don, that's the truck right there. Sadly, the driver of the 18-wheeler died. Officials say the truck went over a barrier and hit a natural gas line. We've seen the rain really heavy for the past half hour. Again, a lot of lightning, a lot of thunder. Here's another look at the parade. It kicked off at 8:30, but many say the party will go on all night.
Lee Park. Ashley, looks like we have perfect timing. You're beautiful, and there's a beautiful sight behind you, too.
Well, Chris, this is the best part of the night. We're looking at the fireworks. The show started around 9:30. Chris, they certainly were. They say the investigation is moving too slow, and this trooper should not only be fired, but indicted.
The ones amongst you who will bring discredit to you, those are the ones that we're talking about.
On a day when it felt like it couldn't get any hotter.
Had it not been for this trooper's behavior, we believe Sandra Bland would be alive today.
Quan-LX and protesters lit their own fire.
I'm going to speak frank to you. In that cop's mind, he was saying to himself, who does this think she is talking to me like this? And then that's when he said to her, get out of the car, I'll light you up. Well, since you like lighting up black women, there's a whole bunch of black men coming today. Let's see if you want to light some of us up.
Deputies guarded off the front entrance where Trooper Brian Encinia lives, and neighbors watched. As many kept saying if it weren't for that trooper, Sandra Bland would still be alive today.
What's your message to the trooper, specifically as being a woman who could put herself in Sandra Bland's position and mindset?
You should think before you react. Just because she might have been rude, that's not against the law. What she came off as her strong voice, that is there for all of us, and that she shouldn't have been treated that way.
Even Gloria Rubach, a white woman, says this situation is near and dear to her heart.
But I also believe that in the slogan Black Lives Matter, because I think we have to say that white lives have always mattered. But in this day and age, with the epidemic of police shootings, I think it's a priority for all of us, of all nationalities, to say Black Lives Matter.
Father God, you have the power to pull all the curtains back.
Protesters ended with prayer and a hope that their prayers would be answered. We also asked Quan-LX if Sandra Bland's family was on board with today's protest, and he responded that today was an action he called for. Live in the newsroom, Ashley Johnson, Fox 26 News. At first glimpse, this looks like your typical high school gym. Teenage boys shooting hoops. And like all kids, most of their day is spent in class. But take a closer look. These aren't school uniforms, these are county jumpsuits for juveniles. This gym is the Harris County Youth Village.
I was being very defiant at home. I wasn't listening to my mom. I was staying out past curfew. Just wasn't following rules and directives at all.
The kids can't be identified, so let's just call him Joe. He's been here for 2 months.
When I first got here, I started off kind of rocky. I wasn't willing to open up and accept the program. And now that I've been in the program, I'm doing wonderful.
It's not what you might expect for a juvenile detention center, where crimes range from shoplifting to attempted murder. On the outside, it looks like a resort. Pretty flowers, palm trees, and a lakeside view. On the inside, discipline, strict rules, and locked doors. For these kids, this is their last resort.
These are the kids who are begging for society to get to understand them and to give them a chance to trust them. Yes, they're not perfect, okay, but none of us are. But we're trying to help them to understand if they continue to work hard, they can turn their life around.
Loretta Tickner is one extremely dedicated superintendent. She works with most of these kids for 4 months.
What makes you scratch your head at night? What causes sleepless nights?
Thinking at times that we're not creative enough. What can I create, or what can we do to, if there's a child that we can't reach?
So how do you reach these kids many people have given up on? The program focuses on getting them GEDs, making a plan for their future, and getting to the root of the problem.
What do you suggest after they leave here so that they stay on the path to success and not fall back into the system?
One thing that's really important, and they learn this through a variety of different therapies that they're in, is to identify a support system that's positive.
We all hope for that change in that child, that they can take control of themselves and realize that, you know, I may be going back to the same environment, the same situation, but it's about me. It's about me changing my life and focusing on what I need to change to be a different person.
Joe says he's working on being that better person so he doesn't have to come back to his last resort.
I miss my family most, and the program just give you time to think about the things that you're missing, what you don't cherish.
Ashley Johnson, Fox 26 News.
No clips inside here for no clips. Perfect.
Life is sometimes far from a walk in the park.
Miss Johnson, you doing okay?
That extra state savings will go.
In order to live in the present,
Ashley Johnson, Fox 26 News.
You have to confront your past. It all started when I was 12, diagnosed with a condition called AVM, arteriovenous malformation, an abnormal connection between my arteries and veins.
It's something we're born with, most AVMs. It's a birthmark. Many of us don't know we have it, but they can cause either seizures or brain hemorrhages.
Despite that dire prognosis, doctors decided not to operate. But several years later, when I was 23, the condition worsened. Here's the evidence. Look closely. That dark mark you see is my brain hemorrhaging. The result, a stifling headache, too much to bear. I couldn't even walk.
Yours was probably much more difficult because you had a hemorrhage, which is out of the blue, you're sick, you're in the hospital a long time. Much more of our surgeries are elective where we know it's going to happen.
Brain surgery was my only option. Doctors cut through my skull and removed the damaged part of my brain.
When you're a child with AVMs, it can come back a lot, and when you are an adult, it doesn't tend to, and you're kind of in the mixture because you were diagnosed as a child but removed as an adult.
6 years later, an appointment with Dr. Dong Kim, a world-renowned neurosurgeon at Memorial Hermann Hospital. He's the man who saved Congresswoman Gabby Giffords.
So there's two questions that we're dealing with for you, Ashley, as you know. One is there any evidence that your AVM has come back? And do we need to worry about that? And then the other is, are you having some fluid buildup in your brain?
Face it for me.
Questions that could come with some very scary answers.
Okay.
X-rays can provide some answers.
Now see.
The big test, an MRI. Doctors recommend one every 5 years after neurosurgery, and now it's time for my checkup.
Ultimately, we want patients to be better off. Just like you had 2 hemorrhages, and after surgery, now you don't have to worry about it anymore.
That was the answer to my prayers. Some patients suffer from chronic headaches, strokes, or seizures. Many times, life after brain surgery is an emotional roller coaster.
Sometimes patients need a little help, and we'll set them up with a therapist because you can go through depression very easily, kind of a post-traumatic situation, and you just have to be aware of that. But if the brain is functioning well, the emotional parts can catch on, and getting back to a normal life is the best thing.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you, Dr. Kim.
Nice to see you.
I know, thank you. Oh.
Till this day, I get chills thinking about what I went through, and from an emotional standpoint, many people deal with their surgery in their own way. For me, it's having an outlet such as writing or ballet, which you guys all know, but I can't believe I just shared that.
We're glad you did.
Yeah, I can't imagine.
A lot of people.
I can't imagine going through a brain surgery. I know it was 6 years ago, and you have to have these regular updates, and this is the first one you've had.
It is, and it's just amazing that I'm here in the medical center with the most world-renowned, like one of the most world-renowned neurosurgeons, and he was so calm, and he just really made me feel at ease because I was really nervous doing this story.
So you came to Houston for a reason. You
I
didn't
did.
realize it, but you came here for a reason. Is it over? Are you in the clear? What's next?
The good part is they can't rule it out 100%. And like he said, my case is very tricky because I was diagnosed as a child, but I had it removed as an adult. So if you're diagnosed as a child, there's a good chance it could come back. But if you have it removed as an adult, you're pretty much in the clear. So I will continue to get my checkups, but for the most part, I am thanking God that I'm okay.
As we all are, and your hair looks great too.
Thank you. I didn't have to get it shaved for surgery. A lot of people, that was the first question I asked. Really important.
They cut into your skull. I mean,
they did, and at 23, I'm like, oh, will I make it out alive? And by the way, will I have my hair when I come out of surgery? So I'm happy that I got to keep it.